Then he told his father, he said, Father, I spent this money in a disastrous manner. The gold just fled my hand. I don't know how come. He said the first time gold fled my hand was the time two men that he met at Nineveh. He went to Nineveh. No, Marcy went to Nineveh. No, he heard that Nineveh was a land of opportunities where he can invest and all of that. So he was at Nineveh, and two men came to him. And those men were like, oh, they have this friend that owns this swift horse that can never be beaten. Why don't you wager, bet on your horse? You win and all of that. So he did that. He made a bet. But at the end of the day, he lost the bet. So he now realized that these men were just pranksters. They were scammers. That was how they were doing to everybody. Then the second time he lost gold, that is the gold that his father gave him, was the time he met the son of the wealthy man too at Nineveh. Then the son or the man told him and said, oh, there's this particular late merchant. They're about to sell the shop. Why not secure the shop for yourself? It's at a paltry price. That means at a little price. Just secure it. Then we'll be equal partners in the business. And I said, oh, well, no problem. So he paid for the whole thing. Then the guy told him, I will have to go back to Babylon to get my own gold before I can pay you. But don't worry, we will both be in the business. I'll also sponsor and all of that. But the guy kept on postponing his trip to Babylon. It was later I realized that this particular guy was a foolish spender and an unwise buyer. So all of this, it was not perplexed. It was so sad. Imagine a bag of gold, and you had to come back 10 years after to give account of all of how we spent that money. Then he now said, okay, well, my father gave me a clay tablet. Let me just go through this thing. What was it about? Then he went through it. That was when he realized. Then he clicked. He said, oh, so this wisdom is very valuable and is worth more than the gold my father gave me. Can you imagine? It was later I realized that, wow, if I had this wisdom, I wouldn't have spent my money that way. I wouldn't have squandered my money that way. Then all of a sudden, he got a job, all of that, losing his gold and all of that, it ended. Then he got a job as a manager who was to manage a crew of slaves. They started earning. When he got copper, he saved. When he got silver, when his salary increased to silver, he still saved. Then there was this slave master like, well, you're youth now. Why don't you spend, you don't spend on unnecessary things. You just spend grudgingly. And he explained his ordeal and all of that. Then the slave master told him, well, why not? There's a business I can introduce you to. Once this slave build this outer wall, there will be a need to build gates, great gates of bronze. But the metal that will be used to build these gates are scarce in Nineveh. But don't worry, let's pool our resources. Then we'll go to a mine, a distant mine. Then we'll bring those metals back to Nineveh. So when the king gives an order that, oh, you guys should build the gates, since they're already a supplier, they will just supply the gates to the material, the metal that will be used to build the gates to the king. And then the king will pay them handsomely. And if the king says no, then we can just sell it at a fair price. So that was when he realized that that particular thing falls under the third law of gold. That you must associate yourself with men that are wise in handling money. Men that are wise in handling money will not mislead you because they know when an investment is good and they know when an investment is bad. So all of this now made Nomasi realize that, wow, wisdom is the principal thing. Just like the way the Bible said it. And just like the way the Bible said wisdom is the principal thing. So he applied all of this. Then he said something, and I'm going to quote it. He said, to him who does not have knowledge of the 5 laws of gold, gold will often not come to his hand, and also gold will go away quickly from his hand. What does this mean? If you don't have knowledge of how to spend your money, how to use your money wisely, gold will rarely come to your hand. And also, gold will quickly leave your hand because when you see something, oh, I love that clothes, I love that shoe, that investment seems real. Imagine someone telling you, oh, when you invest your money now, you can make 5 million naira in a night. And then all of a sudden, you just put your mouth. Success doesn't just come like that. It takes a gradual process. You save, you invest, and all of that. So Nomasi returned to the palace. with 3 bags of gold. 3 bags of gold when his father just gave him a bag of gold. So he went back. He said, my father, he explained everything that happened. He said, my father, I have come to show you that I am worthy of inheriting your estate. Look how I've made myself, I'm someone that can be respected amongst men. No, Mercy said something. He said, without wisdom, gold is quickly lost by those who have it. But with wisdom, gold can be secured by those who don't have it. We can see that from the story I just told about the life of Nomasir. So wisdom on the clay tablets earned him his wealth, his respect before men, and his father's estates, all because he was wise enough. So some persons have more gold than some others, not because those people are magicians, or not because those people were created by God that way. No, they had to learn. They had to use the wisdom. They had to work with wise men. They used the knowledge they had. We see the likes of Tony Elumelu, Femi Otedola. It's not because, there's this superpower they have, but because they apply wisdom in their financial dealings, basically. So inconsistency of it is not the reason one man has more than the other. It is not. Inconsistency of it, this one is just destined to be rich. This other one is not destined. No. It's because one person knows how to master, knows that wisdom is important when it comes to your finance. So one wise act accompanies us throughout to please us and help us. So the old kebab then listed out these 5 laws of gold I'll be sharing with you now. So the first one is gold comes gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who puts by, that means save. When you put by, it means you save not less than 1/10 of your earnings to create an estate for his future and for his family. Yorubas will say, this literally means you can't use your entire hands to eat, but connotatively, it just means that you don't spend your entire but for the money you labored for, you don't just spend it at a go. You save some, you invest some, then you spend some. So a wise man would know that I'm supposed to put by 1/10 of my savings, of my earnings, to let me save it for my future, because it will get to a time that you won't be able to work. You are still a youth now, doesn't mean be a youth forever. So you make sure you save 1/10, then for yourself, and then for your children to come. The second one is gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds profitable employment for such money, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. Gold is a willing worker. When there's an opportunity, a friend comes to you, my friend, you have to invest. You keep investing and investing. And now money, when you have the money to work for you, it is a diligent worker. It is very eager to multiply when the opportunities present itself. That's the secret about money. So the third thing is God clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of wise men that are wise in handling gold. Like we can see in the story of Nomasir, that was the turning point for him. When he met that slave master, that was when his life changed. Then he got 2 extra bags of gold. So make sure you as people on the call now, I know that we are listening. I want us to move with men that are wise, men that are skilled in handling wealth, in handling money, men that know the difference between scam and real investments. This really saves us. This will help us maintain our wealth, our earnings, our salaries. Then the fourth one is gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in it. Just like I said, a friend comes to you and is like, you can make $5 million or 5 million naira in a night. If you invest your money that way, obviously your gold will slip away from you. Your money will slip away from you. So invest in something that you are familiar with. Invest in something that you are very sure, that you have confidence in. Like when Mercy was first influenced by those people he met in Nineveh, that, and don't worry, just, buy this shop. Buy the shop of this late merchant. I'll pay you the money back. Don't worry, that. And at the end of the day, the shop, he had to sell it at a very paltry price because the whole item was deteriorating. The guy that was supposed to be his partner could not go to Babylon to secure his gold. So be wise about it. Be wise about the way you invest. Then the last one is that gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who follows the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires. When we say romantic desires, it means imaginary, unrealistic. Oh, invest in this and you will get a mansion. Do this. Be realistic in spending your money. That's the moral lesson of this chapter 6. Chapter 5. Then moving on, I'm talking about chapter 6. The title is The Gold Lender of Babylon. The Gold Lender of Babylon. In this particular chapter, well, the author introduced us to Rodan, who was a spear maker. Then Rodan was working about it. It's 50 pieces of gold. He just got this gold. The king gifted it to him because he made this particular spear for the royal guards of the royal guards. So he was confused as to how to spend this money and all of that. So he strolled to the shop of his friend. So he strolled to the shop of his friend in order to get wise advice on how to spend this money. He was confused because a lot of friends wanted to share this money with him. So in particular, his sister, his brother-in-law also needed money to become a very prosperous merchant. So his friend, the Mathon, who was the gold lender, then told him and said, if you really want to borrow your brother-in-law this money, then you have to ask him, for what purpose do you need this for? And if he says he wants to become a merchant, then ask him, when would he get the goods to a really low price? And if he says yes, then when would he be able to sell this? Does he know where he'll be able to sell it? So Mathon made us realize that if you are the owner of your money, before you lend people your money, you have to be very wise about it. You have to be very, very wise about giving your money out to people. Make sure that you get a security for the repayment of your loan. Make sure that all of that is intact. So the few takeaways from this particular chapter is that, number one, a wise lender wishes not the risk of undertaking, but the guarantee of safe repayment of his money. That is very important. You made your money, you labored for it, you earned it. So giving it to somebody and a person now misusing it for you would not be a very wise idea. So the second thing, it is good to assist people in need, but be sure that you are not going to take on their own burden in the process of doing this. You want to borrow somebody, but make sure that you're not going to, at the end of the day, you're not going to take up their burden in doing this. Then the third thing is, it's pertinent to know that your money is your money. Nobody can force you to part with it. Then the lesson, if you want to borrow money, be cautious about it. This particular chapter emphasizes the fact that we have to be very cautious about spending our money. Then the thing is, this fifth thing is, if you wish to borrow someone your money, don't do it at the risk of losing the gold you have worked for. The sixth thing is, preserve your treasures. Preserve your treasures safely. The seventh thing is, do not lend your money where you are not confident that it is safe. Then the eighth thing is that if you so desire to help your friends or family, you might as well do it another way. Instead of giving them the money, at the end of the day, you will not be full of regret and sadness and all of that. The last thing I'll leave us with is that seek to associate yourself with men who are skilled in handling money, who are very wise in handling money. I hope that with everything we've heard today, we'll be able to put them to use in our daily lives, not to maintain and manage our money. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vanguard, Folakemi.
Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Folakemi, and still on the book, the richest man in Babylon. I'll be reviewing chapter 7 and chapter 8. So I'll start from chapter 7 that says that the walls of Babylon, the walls of Babylon, the walls of Babylon. Now there is a warrior that helped to guard the city of Babylon. Let me start that by saying that the walls of Babylon is like a quest for like a quest for protection, a quest for protection. No one would say that Babylon, we know that it was is a city of richness, is an ancient city of richness, of wealth, of known for art, commerce, business. So now when we now say okay, a quest for the wall of Babylon, we are talking about protection against Babylon. So there was a war on the Babylon city of the city because the city was under attack by Assyrian armies, Assyrian army. So there was a man, an elderly merchant, that asked Bansa for news about the enemy's army. Please pardon the sound. Yeah, please pardon the sound. Then he asked about it so that he can have a good view of the surrounding. So Bansa assures the man that Babylon's wall will hold, that the enemy might troop in, but they will not be able to break through. Another mother came along and asked the same question. She asked, will these people be able to break this wall and enter into Babylon? But he assures her again that what I should go home, should take care of her sick husband, that there is nothing, that herself assured that there was, they will be keep safe, that they'll be keep safe. For weeks, the enemy tried what breaching the walls of Babylon, but they were unsuccessful. They were unsuccessful. So Babylon forces let out a joyful cry and light the flames of victory. That is, Babylon was able to stand. Babylon endured century after century because it was fully protected. So Babylon was able to stand, was able to pull through despite the attack of the army against it. Why? Because the walls of Babylon were strong enough, they were high, and they were of good stand for safety. So walls of Babylon are outstanding example of a man's need and desire for protection. If we are talking about acquiring wealth, maintaining or I want to use another word there again. Okay, maintaining wealth, acquiring wealth, maintaining wealth. Now, what is the use of the wealth if we cannot build a lasting protection for it? It is good to acquire wealth. It is good to get wealth, to maintain it to over the years. But what help wealth to stay or help a person to stay wealthy years after years is that there are plans, there are standing plans, there are established strategy for protection. What do I mean? Nowadays, we have strong walls of insurance. We have insurance here and there. We have savings accounts, dependable investment. For example, now real estate. I'm sure that some of us are familiar with it. Now, there are what? There are strong walls of protection that you need to guard yourself against unexpected events, circumstances that may arise. Because, of course, can you still hear me? Okay, because anything may come up at any point in time. So, what is the essence of saying I am a rich person, I have this and that, and then when events comes up, we cannot stand it. Now look at Babylon. Despite the attack, despite the trying of those armies, they were unable to penetrate. They were unsuccessful. Why? Because the walls of Babylon were strong enough. They were high enough. They were built for safety. There is an established strategy to guard against it, to protect it. So what I'm just saying, and I'd like us to hold is that as a financial literate, we cannot afford to be without adequate protection. Say, I cannot afford to be without adequate protection. We must build walls of protection. We must build wall against our Babylon. We must ensure that there are standing rules, there are established established plans or strategy to make sure that we protect what we are actually acquiring and maintaining. Yes, if you are acquiring wealth, if you are maintaining wealth, there is a need for us to build a walls of protection around it, that even when needs arise, when circumstances, unplanned one, when they arise, then we can actually pull through. We can have something to bounce back or to do with it. So I'll go to the next chapter quickly, and that is the camel trader of Babylon. The camel trader of Babylon. I'll start with this quote that the hungrier one becomes, the clearer one's mind works. An hungry man think faster. An hungry man think faster. Hunger makes one to become a fast thinker. So when the heart is hungry, it was clearer. That is, we're able to think about so many things. Now let us look at a story of a particular man. The richest man in Babylon, he shared his story with a particular young man. So there was a young man named Tagda. He was starving on this particular day. After he had stolen from a garden, then there's nothing for him to eat again. So he restricts himself that he will not steal from those sellers, from their basket. So he went to a restaurant, walking in front of it, going back and forth, hoping to see someone that he might lend money lending money to eat, But unfortunately, he encountered someone, and that's someone that he does not want to even see on that particular day. And why? Because he was owing the man, and the man is the camel trader of Babylon. He was owing him, his name is Dabashi. He was owing him some amount of money. He didn't want to see him, but he jumped into him that day. So Dabashi asked him, he demanded his 2 coppers and 1 silver coin that he already lent to Tagda. He admits that he lent him money, silver coin, but he told him that he could not repay him that day, that he does not have yet. So Tagda complains that he has bad luck. He was telling Dapshi. Then Dapshi made a particular statement. He said that ill fortune pursues every man who think more of borrowing than of repaying. If at any point in time you're always thinking of how you will borrow, how you will lend, how you will borrow, how you will borrow from people here and there, then ill fortune is pursuing such a man. So ill fortune pursues every man who thinks more of borrowing than of repaying, because at that point in time he was owing, but what crosses in mind is that he wants to still borrow from another person to buy food again. He was not even thinking of repaying any debt at that point in time. He was shying away, running away from his debt and the person he was even owing, but he wants to borrow more. So Tagda invited Dabashi invited Tagda into the restaurant to tell him a story. Now, what did Dabashi did something. He ordered for food for himself, but he failed to order for Tagda. Why? Because he believed that if he's hungry, he will be ready to listen to what he's telling him. He will be ready to hear from him. Maybe he can, help him. So he ordered for food and he was eating it. Didn't mind what Tagda wants to eat. So Dabashi shared him that when he now talked about his own story, that when he was a youth, he had a good job as a saddle maker. He was married. But what happened to him is that he was regularly overspending his money. That is, he was spending more than he was earning. He was spending more than he was earning. And he said this, he will spend more than he earns. He's sowing the winds of needless self-indulgence, and we reap the whirlwinds of what? Trouble and humiliation. If anyone, I will say it again, he will spend more than he earns. He's sowing the wind of needless self-indulgence, and we reap the whirlwinds of trouble and humiliation. A person who is always a borrower, who borrows at every point in time, is already opening the door of disrespect and humiliation for himself or herself. So if at every point in time you're spending more than you are earning, you are already gradually opening the door of trouble and humiliation for yourself. So he shared him that was one of the mistakes he made then. So he was unable to pay. Over the time, he became indebted, and he was unable to pay the people that he was owing at that point in time. So the fear, his wife had to leave him, return to his father, return to her father's house. Then the fear of his creditor occupied his mind, so he decided to leave Babylon, and then he worked for some caravan traders for 2 years. That one was not enough to pay for his debt. He continued roaming about until he was able to collaborate with some thieves, and they start, thieves now, they start stealing things, and he did it the first time. They were fortunate. The second time, they were arrested, then they were sold as slave. So where he was sold to Syria, and then he met with that man, and then they said, okay, they already have more than enough slave, and they will castrate him as an Enoch, and all of Enoch like that. And then the man has two wives. So the first wife was already feeling pity for him, one kind of empathy, that she now said that, what can you do? He said he knows about camel and all of that. The woman now said she needs someone who would lead her own camel. That was how the husband released him to that woman, so that it would be leading the camel of his wife. And that was how his journey started. And the woman, of course, helped her along the way. So the woman asked her a question one day, that do you have the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave? Now, let's hear this. That is the one who has the soul of a free man will see life as a problem to be solved and then solve it. Anyone who has the soul of a free man will see life as a problem to be solved and will solve it. But one who has the soul of a slave will see life like, I'm a slave. What can I do? Who I am? Who am I? And that's the way they'll continue to want to live their life. But if you see life from the soul of a free man, you will see that you can still make use of it. You can still do something out of life. You will see life from a good lens. From a good lens. So I will say this to us is that, and then the woman asked him to lead the camel to her parents' house. Her mother that was sick, they went there. Along the way, the woman released him to go back, instructed him to go back to pay his lender, because she said something to him that your debts are your enemy, but the men who you owe are your friends. They had trusted you enough, believed in you to have lent you money. So if anybody lent you money at any point in time, they are your friend. And the money they earn you, your debts, they are the ones that are your enemy, not the people that lend you, because they have trusted you enough. They believe in you enough to repay them. That's why they have done that to you. So be able to be courageous to face your fear. So I don't know if at any point in time you are owing any man or you borrowed from someone, take it as a challenge to face your fear. Take it as a challenge to see it as a problem that you have to solve and solve it. Take it upon you to earn back your respect. Yes, owing no man makes you an honorable man among men. Owing no man makes you an honorable man among men. When you owe no one, you become honorable. When you owe and you pay back, you buy your respect back. But you'll be disrespected if at any point of time you are owing anyone. So I will just sound the lessons there again. Of course, the man went back, worked in Babylon, then he started dealings with camel. That's how he became the camel trader of Babylon. He started dealing with camel. He was able to pay back his debts, was able to get his wife back to himself, and then begin to live a good life that he himself could lend to other people as well. So the lesson here is that be determined to pay back whenever you borrow from anyone. Then see life from the soul of a free man, seeing life as a problem that you have to solve, and then solve it. Don't run away from things that you have to face. Oh no man, it makes you an honorable man among men. Then ensure that you do not spend more than you earn. Don't spend more than you earn. It will sow what you will not like to reap. It will sow a seed of humiliation, and when it grows, when it germinates, you reap humiliation, you reap trouble, and you will not like it. So don't let borrowing from people be your weakness, because our weakness can put us in trouble or in bondage and even slavery if we do not if we fail to want to tame it. And then from we should also understand that our debts are what? Our enemy, but the people that we owe are our friends, and then they have trusted us enough to want to lend us, or to borrow us money, to lend us money rather. So where determination is, way can be found. The man, because he has the soul of a free man, he proposed in his heart, he determined to pay back his debt. It was not easy for him to go back to Babylon. The first thing he did when he got to Babylon was that he went to each person to let them know that he is back and is ready to pay them. He was courageous. He said he's ready to pay them. He embraced them, and they gave him time to do what? To pay them back. So when I say, I know we must have had these quotes that when there is a will, there will be a way. So where there is determination, way can be found. So be determined in your heart never to owe any man. Do not owe anyone. If at any point in time you are owing anyone, make it a point of duty to pay them back. Paying them back means that what? You are building the trust again, the trust that they had in you to have what? To give out to you. So I will stop there now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Vanguard Folakemi. That was a very insightful one. Thank you for sharing those words of wisdom with us. One thing that stood out for me is the fact that we should ensure that we avoid spending more than we earn, or more than you are earning, basically. So make sure you balance it. So it's question and answer session. We'll open the floor for people to ask their questions. There's one question I want to ask us, and I want us to contribute to. Everybody has to contribute, at least. So the question is, have you ever been a lender? And a lender is someone who gives money, like a bank. A bank is a lender. Or have you ever been a borrower, someone that collects? What was your experience like? Share it with us. We want to know, what was your experience like? Did you repay as you should? As a lender, as a borrower, did you repay as you should? And share with us. Let's know. Did borrowing somebody cause you hardship? Did it make you sad or anything? Just share with us, please. If you have something to say, please raise up your hand and I'll call you. Does everyone have anything to say? I'll call names. Have you ever been in a position whereby you gave somebody your money and probably they didn't pay back? And just share with us, what did you do? Should I call names? Okay. Please, let's raise up our hands and contribute. Thank you. And from this chapter 6, the lender, the money lender, the person of Matthew, he told us that it is very important for you as the lender to always get something, a secure experience. But I want to hear from us on the call now. What was that experience like? Giving somebody, borrowing somebody money, your gold, anything. Okay, I'm going to call. Okay, someone's raising up their hands. Sorry, I can't really see. Raising up their hands. Please, can you unmute your mic, please? Whoever is raising up their hand. Let's give what I can give. Okay. Thank you. So Vanga Babatunde said, I have learned to give only what I can give. So I expect the worst when I do. Does anyone have anything to say? I think someone. Okay, Ayon Tunji Nike, please can you unmute your mic? You can speak. Thank you. Oh, okay. I thought she wanted to say something. Okay, Mr. Solomon Faith. I don't know. If you have anything to say. Miss Nike, please, you have anything to say? Your hand, you raised your hand. Please let's contribute to. Please, speakers have said their own, but we need to know that yes, you are following us and you have something to say. We can all learn from what you have to say, honestly. No man is an island. So I don't know. She raised up her hand, but she's not saying anything. Well, thank you very much, Vanguard Baba Tunde Badejo, for that. Learn to give what you can give. So I expect the worst when I do. Okay. Okay, yes, Vanguard. No, I have the floor. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And you asked us a question that what's our experience with lending people money. Well, I would not like to share my experience here because it's a very bloody one. But then what I will just say is this. Lending people money. When I was reading the book, lending people money was one of the strategy of increasing gold. I mean, the Akkad, when he was explaining it, he said that he gave money to farmers to trade and they bring back the money with interest. But I found out that in this age, if you lend somebody money, when they want to lend it, they are your friend, they are very cool. And people have audacity now that you will lend them money, you give them money, and they will tell you that you cannot do anything to collect the money back. So lending people money in this age is even a no-no for me. I would not even consider it as a means of making money. Rather, even if you say people should write undertaking, in this age that you know that even if they write the undertaking, they may not even abide by it. Right, and they'll still be telling you there's nothing you can do. And sincerely, I'll just go with what Vanguard Babatunde said, that any money that you know that you cannot give out, I cannot lend someone. I'd rather find a way to give you. I've tried to give you. If you come to meet me to lend you 20,000, personally, I'll tell you I don't have a money to lend you, but I can give you maybe 2,000 or 3,000. You can find the remaining elsewhere. But at least I know that I cannot lend you money. I've lent people money severally, and I used to say I did not have the head. Like Yoruba would say, "Mi olori kini." I don't have the head. They don't end up paying back. And these people, and another thing about lending people money is that in order to protect a relationship with people, for me, in order to protect relationship with people, I'd rather not lend them money. Because I've had experience where people who are my closest friend and they are in need of something and I lend them, and we from that time, they started ghosting me. Okay, guy, forget money. Let's talk, Aspa. Let's talk friends. They will still keep ghosting you because guilty conscience will be doing them that they didn't pay back your money. So lending someone money this age, it's a no-no for me. It's a no-no for me. People are no longer sincere. People are no longer committed to their words, and people cannot. But what today said I should lend you 10 million. I'm sorry, I can't give you 1 million if that's the case. So I was just going to say that people are no longer committed. People are no longer sincere. People are now very wicked. Not like people were not wicked before, but like now people are very wicked. They would collect your money and you'll be seeing them buying new things. You'll be seeing them buying things and they won't return your money. So I don't advise lending people money, and I don't advise you to borrowing money. Some people say that if you're a businessman and you don't borrow money, you can't. Well, maybe I've not gotten to that level of businessman, but borrowing money sometimes used to do me somehow. The question I used to have, it will be haunting me. That's why it pained me So it's like I'm taking a lot of time. That's why it pains me when people don't pay back my money. If I borrow something from you, if I see you, immediately I see you, the first thing that comes to my head is the money. I will not be able to rest until I pay back your money. So why should you hold my money and not pay my money? So lending people money as a means of getting gold is a no-no for me at this age that we are in. I don't know if anybody have a contrary view, but my own is a no-no. I can't. Thank you. Okay, somebody said
Wow. Thank you so much, Vanguard Noah. Well, I didn't mention this before, but in the book, Master on the Gold Lender, it said it is better to even waste your money on extravagant things than to give it to somebody and then you just end up eating them and then everything just turns sour and all of that. So be careful when you want to lend people, your friends. It's very easy to assist people, but make sure that the money you are giving will not make everything, your relationship turn sour. So Vanguard, Nike, please, you can say something. You can unmute your mic. I mean, exactly. I thought Miss Nike, sorry. Miss Nike, are you there? You can say something.
Yes.
Okay.
Good
All right.
Please, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Thank you, ma. Yeah, I came across this platform this evening, financial literacy, and I just said, let me just go in and see what is happening there. And I'm very, very glad to join this evening. About what I just want to say about lending people or borrowing. To my own little understanding, I don't think, if you don't have something very important that you want to invest your money, the money into, I don't think there's a reason for you going into, borrowing from people. If you don't have something tangible you want to make use of the money for, I would not advise us to, to go into lending from people. And you see that lending, like borrowing people, I am a victim of it. I am a victim. Few years back, I am the kind of person that, when people come to me to, please, we need this, because I felt, okay, you have the power to help people, then you just give it out. See, at this point, you have to know the right from the wrong. You have to lay a boundary, with how you spend your money. You shouldn't just spend money because you are seeing it, you are just seeing it, you are working, at the end of the month, you are still going to receive another money. But we should know that when you are seeing money, spend it wisely. Because I fell into a lot of victims that people will come borrowing money from, and at the end of the day, they would not return my money. Something happened to me recently, like 2 months ago. Well, yes, 2 months ago, somebody came in and was lamenting that she actually wanted to use the money for an examination, and I said, okay, no problem. She told me that in the next 2 or 3 days she will return the money. I can tell you, like till today, she hasn't given me the money. And when I saw her status, she posts new things, wearing new things. At the point, I felt, wait, am I a dumb? Like, is it that I don't know what I'm doing? See, I just want us to discern when we want to borrow people. And I have concluded in my heart that before you would borrow people money, make sure borrowing the money you want to borrow, it's something that you can just dash out. If somebody comes to you and say, okay, please, I need 500,000, or I need 20,000, or I need 10,000. If you know that giving that person that 10,000 will be a hurt for you, please don't do it. It's better you just give the person, even if it's 5,000, that you know that even if the person did not give me the money back, it's not a plus to me. I would not regret anything. I guess that is what I have been. That is what I have been doing. since those things have been happening to me, because I felt people are now using you. If you are not wise, we are in this, I don't know the different parts we have presently, but this Lagos, if you are not wise enough, people will just spend your money. Even you that you have the money, you are not spending that money the way people are spending your own money. So I'm just trying to tell us, according to this lesson that we have learned today, lending and borrowing, if you are not in need of something, like if you are not in need of that money, that you want to use it for an important thing, don't go into borrowing. And you know that when borrowing that thing, it's coming back with a lot of money. It's coming back with a lot of investment, then you can go for it. But when you know that this thing you are embarking on would not bring any interest to you, would not bring any impact to you, please don't just go into it. Because according to what Miss Busari said the other time, she said, when you borrow, you are just trying to people, you are just allowing people will mock you with it, right? And you are not able to pay back the money. Please, I don't know, maybe you understand what I'm trying to say. So what I'm just trying to say in essence is, please, when you know that the money you are about giving will hurt you, it is better for you not to give it out. Just give the little, you know that if the person could not even pay back, it will not hurt me. It will be better. It will be for your own favor and the favor of that person. Nobody will hold you. And somebody told me something, said, you are not the last option of anybody. Since when that person told him that thing, I've held to that word. No, you are not the last option of anybody. So if anybody comes to you that, if you have the power of giving, don't give beyond your power. And if you have, know at the back of your mind, I'm not learning this, I am giving. So if the person give me return, fine. If the person did not give me, fine. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you, everybody.
Wow. Thank you so much, Vanguard, Miss Nike. It's just like what Vanguard Babatunde said, give what you can give.
Exactly.
Don't do past yourself. Oh. Please, people on this call, I hope you are listening now. Don't do past yourself. Oh. Even Mason, the gold lender in Babylon, he said, even he does not discourage borrowing or lending. Even he made his first real success by borrowing money. But the thing is that be wise. Don't just please, my sister, my uncle, don't be careful. Give what you can. You can give. Like, there's not going to be a story at the end of the day. If a person comes and say, Emma, I can't give you money. You already know that I have given you. Like, that was not even a big deal for me. Do you get? So the Mason says something. He said, better a little caution than great regrets. That was the way they ended the chapter. Better a little caution. Take it now so that you will not regret later. Your money is your money. Nobody can force you to part with it. Just like Miss Nike said, you are nobody's last option. So don't feel too, there's this obligation on you that you must give your friend, you must give your, no. Please, let's be wise. That's why TV has brought this TV took their time to, organize this for us to learn. Let's be wise when it comes to borrowing people our money. It's very easy to fall prey, but let's be wise. Please, does anyone else have anything to say? Okay.
I think Vanguard Shola is raising her hand.
Okay, please, Mike, can unmute your mic.
Okay, good evening, everyone. To the speakers, well done. Thank you for the insights. So, concerning borrowing people money, and you yourself borrowing money, I feel number one, let's talk about the personal borrowing. If you know that, don't borrow the money you cannot pay back, because we are saying that, okay, we are borrowing people money and they are not returning it, or we should borrow people money, the money we can dash out. We also, because there are sometimes that we'll find ourselves in some situations that we just need to borrow some money, but we should not borrow the money that is beyond what we ourselves can pay back, because there are sometimes that those people that we even borrow money, they actually want to refund the money, but they felt like, okay, if I borrow 50K, I should be able. The moment you are using the should, the moment you are not certain about you refunding that money, definitely there's a problem. So if you are lending someone money and the person is saying, don't worry, I'll pay back, the person might have the mind of paying back, but some things might just come up and the person will not eventually pay whole or not pay at all. So personally, we should not borrow money that we ourselves cannot pay back. And I would advise that if we cannot even borrow at all, we should not borrow. If we cannot borrow, because like me, I don't really have the mind of borrowing money because I will not sleep. So I would rather go and ask that, I need some funds to do this. Can I get this? So if I can get it, fine. I know that, okay, I'm just going to say thank you to that person. I'm going to appreciate that person. I don't have the headache of refunding. But when it comes to the situation that, okay, I need to borrow this substantial amount of money, and I know that, okay, I already have a plan B of how I'm going to refund back the money. So don't borrow a money that you are not certain of refunding, that you are not certain of the means of refunding the money. It's like you want to borrow a money for business. Of course, you know that when you make profit, when you sell your business, the first thing is for you to refund that money. And that's why you want to borrow money from people, especially for business. They will tell you that if you want to borrow money for your business, it's advisable you borrow money from your family or maybe your close friends. Don't go and borrow substantial money from outside that you know that you cannot refund back. So if it's a family member that you borrow money from and they are not refunding it, they will talk. They will not disown you as a family member. Do you understand? But it is still not good that you are borrowing money and you cannot refund. So don't do what you cannot afford. Don't do it. It's like we youth that we want to be among. We want to be among. That's why some people borrow money and they cannot refund it, because they want to be in vogue. They want to do what other people are doing. They want to buy what is in vogue. They want to be seen. That's why they borrow money and they cannot refund it, because the money they are borrowing, they're not using it for business. They're not using it for something that will bring something in return for them that they will use to pay the money. So we should please not borrow the money we cannot refund. And if at all we cannot borrow, we should not even borrow at all. And as regards borrowing people money, I don't just borrow people money. If you like, come and be crying. I don't just borrow people money. There's a track record. Of course, you would have heard a lot about some people. And if I don't have a close contact with you, I will not borrow you money. I will not. And the first thing I do is I will test you with a little. If you come to me and you say, okay, babes, please, can you just borrow me like 3K? I'll refund it back so day. I will give you that 3K. And I will just look at you. I'll be checking if you will actually refund the money back at that particular set date that you have told me that you will return it. So if I borrow you 3K and you're telling me that, okay, you will return it by next week Thursday, and you return it even earlier than that Thursday, okay, I'm building trust issues. Do you understand? Like, that's how it goes. So you don't just borrow people money. Someone cannot just come to you. The person that you have never met before, you don't have any rapport with that person, maybe it's just from a far distance, and the person just come to you and say, borrow me 50K, and be like, oh, okay, let me see what I can do. And you borrow the person, the whole 50K. You know you're already at risk because you don't know the person. Do you understand? So now, going to the person that you now know closely, the person comes to you and say, I have a friend that will say, Shola, mutusi deo, mama need to be 20K. I'll say, I don't have 20K, but let me see, I can borrow you 5K. I know that 5K, like what Babatunde and Vanganike had said, that the money you can dash, that it will not pinch you. I'll say, okay, I can only spare 5K. And I will give the person 5K. I can only borrow you 5,000 naira. So if by adventure the person is not returning it back, it will not pay me. I don't know how to even tell people that, where's my money? I don't know. If I borrow you money, it's going to be hard for me to now start come and meet you that, where's my money? You told me you would give me so. I don't know how to do it. So I'd rather borrow you a money that I know that if I want to dash you, that's the money I will dash you. So we should also be careful about people we borrow money. Of course, we have people that we have borrowed money, that they have refunded our money back, even without we asking them. They refunded it back even before the set time they gave. So it depends on the relationship you have with people. It depends like on the relationship you have with people. And we should always be cautious of borrowing. There are some people that they've already sized us up that I'm sorry for using Yoruba. Like they will size you up that if I go and meet this guy, if I tell him that I need like 5K and he will borrow me, if I don't return now, you will not see anything. Especially when you are a Christian, when you are a devoted Christian, people will want to come and test you because you are a devoted Christian and you borrow someone money. You not want to be you don't want to go and fight now. Where's my money? I borrowed you money. So there are some people that will test your patience. So for you not to be tested, you also have, the Bible says that wisdom is profitable to direct. Wisdom is when the master that gave talents, when he was giving the servant talent, he gave one 5, he gave one 3, he gave one 1. He knows what he was doing. Do you understand? So it's not all of us can undo finances. Not all. There are some people that they derive joy in borrowing, like they cannot do without borrowing. They cannot. So you would have noticed that kind of person, that this person, now borrow, that's what he uses to survive. Of course, if that kind of person comes to you and borrow money, you will tell the person that you don't even have, not to talk of you want to dash, because you know that the person will not refund your money. Especially ladies, some ladies use money that are being borrowed to be the big girls that they have. So we should use wisdom in dealing with people, because we all have different personalities. So when you deal with people with their personalities, that's how I roll with people. My belief is we all have our different personalities, and as such, I would relate with you according to your personality. So if I know that you are the kind of person that is stingy, of course I will relate with you according to you. I will not be stingy to you, but I will relate with you according to your personality, that it will not have issues at all. So wisdom is profitable to direct, and don't borrow people the money you cannot dash them. That's just the word. Don't borrow people you cannot dash the money you cannot dash them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanguard. Shola, that was really an eye-opener for me. Don't give people what you cannot get back. And wisdom, again, is it's profitable. Got that. But the thing is that make sure you give people what you can gift. Borrow people what you can gift. Don't go and do past yourself. The old essence of today's village meeting is that don't do past yourself. Be wise. Open your eyes. When someone keeps borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, study that person well. That person might not pay you back. And again, just like you said, roll with people based on their personality. Know people for who they are. So at the end of the day, you'll not be blaming yourself. Just like Martin advised us to do. You don't want to spend your entire days on earth in constant sorrow because you just borrowed that one person your money, the person you're not supposed to even borrow your money at all. So you should always be in our hearts that our money is our money. Nobody can force it out of your hand. Nobody can force you to part with your money. Just know that your money is your money. So you can decide. It boils down to you to decide who you can give your money to and who you can borrow your money to. Be wise, be cautious. This person is like, you might know. There was even one person. Okay, Vanga boy, you have the floor, ma.
Okay, so I one and ready. So our time is fast spent. I'd like us to end the meeting anytime from now, just for the benefit of people who have other things they've planned out for their Saturday. So what I am suggesting, although we have something else for next week, but we can take, say, 20 minutes, first 20 minutes to discuss, this issue of lending and borrowing, right? So, because I'm sure that other people would have things to say. I have something to say. And one of the things I want to say on this call is that if you have ever borrowed money from anybody and you are yet to return that money, please go and return it by reason of this session. If you're on this call and you are, because I don't know where I heard it from, that bad luck follows people who have collected something that is actually not theirs, or who have in their possession something that is not rightfully theirs, right? So, and don't say that it has gone, it happened 5 years ago. It's in your record, right? And whatever you sow, you reap. So something will happen someday and somebody will cheat you to the tune of the amount that you have borrowed and you did not return, or even double. So if you don't want that kind of, result for yourself in one way or the other, you go and return whatever you have borrowed from anybody. And I want us to have this conversation with a larger, audience. I know we are just about 10 here. So we would, I know that will be way more than 10 next week, because some of our colleagues, are at, at a conference. So I want us, more people to benefit from this conversation. So Tofarati, you will still anchor for the first 20 minutes next week this question around growth, because another question that's why I said the subject is extensive. Another question is, as a lender, somebody who has lent somebody something, why did you find it difficult to go and ask? Why? A lot of people don't ask, and because you don't want to appear proud. You don't want it to seem like you feel like, and this person should be able to return. But maybe if you asked, right, maybe the person would have paid. So, what are the different considerations? We have mentioned very fantastic ideas. Don't borrow what you cannot entirely give out. But then, are there instances where you should say no to somebody? And would that make you be a bad person? No. So you should know the instances where you should actually say no. Somebody that you have borrowed 3K, 2K, you know that in your mind is giving. In case the person does not return, it's fine. But the person actually did not now return it. Should that person come again and you still borrow that person? Because some of us will still borrow the person the second time, the third time. Why? You don't want to be a bad person. And you cannot be working hard, keeping your treasures. And because what you are doing is that the benefit, the value of the money you are making, somebody else is enjoying it. And that is you being careless with your treasure, right? So those are questions that I want us to, still answer next week, So I think we should push it to next week so we can wrap up today's conversation. Thank you very much, everyone, for the wonderful deliberation so far.
Thank you very much, Ma. We really appreciate you. Okay, now we've come to the end of today's village meeting. But before then, let's close our eyes for prayers, for the closing prayer. In Jesus' name, in the mighty name of Jesus, our Heavenly Father, we bless your holy name. We give you glory. We give you adoration. We thank you, Lord, for today's village meeting. We thank you for the speakers. We thank you for those that contributed. We thank you for the listeners. Thank you for everybody, oh Lord. We bless your holy name. Thank you, because today we know that with everything that we have learned today, we will put it to good use in our lives. That you will make us more wiser in the way we deal with people, in the name of Jesus. Thank you, oh Lord, for in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay, Miss Nike, please kindly drop your details. Thank you, in the chat box. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. For the people that just joined us today for the first time, really appreciate your presence. Thank you for joining us. And I hope that you've learned a great deal from today's village meeting. Thank you very much. We should take our mantra now. Please, who has the mantra there? Oh. You're welcome, ma. Apologies, please. I'm just trying to look for the mantra. Okay. Thank you, Vanguard, today. So TV's mantra is, at the Vanguard Africa, we promote transformational leadership in every sphere of influence. Our leaders are well-rounded, adequately built, and exceptionally equipped to excel in every leadership they are entrusted with. We dream upward, invent new strategies, and deploy exemplary wisdom in our affairs. We have more than enough human and capital resources to inspire, build, and equip the next generation of leaders in Nigeria, Africa, and the world at large. Our dreams shall not die. Our vision shall not fade. Our hope shall not be dashed. Our strength shall not wane. With God, We are excellent personalities, leadership models, and organizational catalysts, bringing order into everything we step into. Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Vanguard Nike. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Please, let's make sure we join the next one that will take place next week, Saturday, by 4 p.m. promptly. Please, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate you. Bye-bye.